Hello, everyone. I hope you're all safe and well, whoever's watching. I'm Skylar Daly. I'm a junior going on to senior English major at Monmouth University. Um, I've been working on this research paper with Dr. Warner, I guess you can say, for the past 4 semesters, regardless of whether it was just in plan, actually going through the IRB, or developing the paper. But after a bittersweet end, we've come to an official conclusion, though I don't expect that I'll just stow away the research forever. I'm expecting to revise it. In the beginning, I'd like to point out that this was originally supposed to be a collaboration with Dr. Warner's topic on social media usage in service learning, but we ultimately decided to make this more of an opportunity for me to do departmental honors, and then that's when I developed the topic of design choice and whether the community partner's existing design has any influence on the choices that the students make in their ultimate projects. I kind of begin my introduction with more so an ode to the research process, how I was influenced into doing this topic of service learning since it's a big component in Monmouth University classes, especially since I used to be an education major and 2 of my classes focused on service learning and partnering with the community. So past the introduction, I kind of developed a literature review of service learning, new media, and design choice, and kind of the history and significance of those, especially for my research. So here's a Venn diagram which I took from McHenry County College, which is in Crystal Lake. In the total experience of service learning, it's going to involve all, I guess you can say here, 6 components. Because if you just have 1, or if you just have 2, you're teetering into just one specific act. Service learning stemmed from a concept developed by John Dewey in the early 20th century, and I also added literature from Nicole Champagne and Mary M. Celebrici, which examines service learning in the classroom. So that was part of my connection with Monmouth University. I examined the CETA website to pull up some information, and upon seeing the first page, I knew that I needed to pull this quote, which is from Dr. Eleanor Novak from the Department of Communications. Service learning encourages educators to build experience and public relevance into a wide variety of academic subjects. It offers opportunities to outcomes assessment grounded in real-world experience. It encourages faculty to develop working partnerships with community organizations and public groups. It brings new immediacy to undergraduate education and forges important links between us, our students, and the communities in which we live. And I think that was a nice way to both articulate what exactly service learning is and why we have it at Monmouth University. And I thought it would bring a nice connection for readers, especially since it's Monmouth University I'm writing this research paper for. This next section that I have is new media, which I believe to be extremely important, especially with the case study we're going to look at. And I had Dr. Warner last semester, the fall of 2019, in EN499, which was on new media. And I also had Dr. Warner for my case study, which we'll look at, my personal case study. And I think that this section is extremely important, especially with the video that I'll play a little clip of from my case study, and it has to do with multimodal forms of communication. Here's a chart which I included later in the section, and it shows the 5 different communications. So you have linguistic, visual, oral, spatial, and gestural. And this chart was developed by Kristen Arola, Jennifer Shepard, and Cheryl E. Ball, which are big names in the new media theory literature. And we had read a lot of their articles, or at least a few of their articles had continuously popped up in our course. So I thought that they were extremely important because they seem as if they're the pioneers of this. new media studies look at and even encourages a shift away from print linguistics, or at least away from a dependence on print linguistics, and shifting to multimodal means to convey information. So that would be those 5 different types of modes. So you can see that we do have linguistic, which would be print linguistics under them, but then you have the non-print linguistics. So it's not discouraging people from writing, but rather it's encouraging them to write and also include all of these different aspects. And I'll show you that later when we get to the case study. Also, so this goes into my next section a little bit more, but there's a section on design choice, which I wanted to outline a little bit before I get into my case studies, just to give a more narrowed down reason as to why I'm doing this research. So on design choice, in this section, I reference Lisa Dush, who has this debate on whether we should be using templates. And Dush argues here that inevitably we can't get rid of templates. There's something that students are going to see. So Dush argues that as long as we use these templates and we weed out all of those unoriginal, everybody has them type of elements, and we make it original to ourselves, then we're surpassing everything that is wrong or that has been thought to be wrong about templates. As we get further down into the research paper, I then kind of define and say, what are these organizations that we're going to be looking at here? So the first organization is Garden State Equality, GSE, which is a LGBTQ plus advocacy group that's based out of Asbury Park, and this is the community partner that I had done my project with in Dr. Warner's EN499 class. The second organization was in the fall semester of 2019 again. It was Professor Connolly's EN102 class, and they partnered with Blessing Bag Brigade. And these bags are generally filled with necessities such as shampoo, razors, toilet paper, etc. And Professor Connolly's class had developed, from what I could tell from my surveys, some sort of project that would aid in spreading awareness for this community partner. So for my case study, it's my project from my freshman year spring semester with Dr. Warner. What my group decided we wanted to focus on was cyberbullying within the LGBTQ plus community, but it kind of was dark, and as much as being dark can help elicit some pathetic appeal, we didn't really want it to be sad and bring everybody down. So at that time, Jimmy Kimmel's celebrity mean tweets was really, really popular on YouTube, at least the clips. So we decided what we're going to do is we're going to take Twitter posts that we could find and put them into this mock video for these mean tweets, so that it would have more of a comedic feel and not be as dark. So we had a lot of rhetorical choices that bridged the gap between not only GSC of Asbury, but Monmouth University, and also the LGBTQ plus community. So GSC, if you look at their logo, is navy. A lot of their stuff is navy, but the LGBTQ plus community is usually represented by a rainbow, which can go all the way back to Harvey Milk and developing this symbol for the community. So then our other project, so we had 2 projects kind of. We had a poster presentation for Scholarship Week, and then this is where we implemented the rainbow. And not only did it represent the LGBTQ plus community, but it also helped to set it apart from a lot of the other posters. If you looked around, a lot of the other posters were white or navy, and they represented Monmouth, but we wanted to go far past that. We wanted to represent our organization, and if we did have navy, we would have just blended in with the rest of the posters. So we kind of had to defy the organization a little bit, but at the same time we really weren't because we were still representing the community. Moving on, so for the survey that I had collected from Professor Connolly's class, there were about 15 students that took the survey, and from that I learned that they had created a presentation, advertisement, donation drive, or table stand, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same thing because only one other person said table stand, and the class worked in groups of 3 to 4, or a brochure. And the most important question that I asked in this survey was number 17, which asked what effect the community partner had on the design for the project. I left this open-ended so that they could write their own answer here. So 4 students created the project to be attention-grabbing. 2 students wanted to mimic the logo's design, and 5 wanted their project to represent the community partner, and 2 wanted their project to be helpful to the community partner. I then looked at question 22, which asks whether the students maintained a design that stayed aligned with the partner's color scheme, which got a little bit more specific. 12 students said yes, 2 indicated that they were using their own original color scheme, and then 1 student wrote that they used half and half, and then keeping strictly with the students who said yes, 80% of the class stayed within the design constraints of the community partner. Interestingly enough, 5 students also indicated that the Blessing Bag Brigade had a say in the project's creation, and these 5 students were a part of the 13 who indicated that they were influenced by the design of the community partner. In conclusion, I did ask a rhetorical question, which is it not that we, as creators or students, develop projects in hope of satisfying a general or specific need? And then if you look back at my own project, where there was so much of these LGBTQ plus symbols and Monmouth University revolving around this project, or looking at the survey answers with the Blessing Bag Brigade, how much these students were influenced by the community partner, how they wanted to help them and they wanted to make sure that what they were making could be used by them. They had to stay in the design. They had to make sure it was something that could be popped right in with the website or with a Facebook group, and it wouldn't be too extreme to one side or the other. It would fit just right. And to do that, they needed to mimic already what these community partners were developing. And I think in the end, this could be applied to any sort of project, any sort of assignment. You want to make sure that these designs are fitting in, but you're also being creative and you're maintaining this originality. These skills that we are using to develop these projects will be needed to maintain the image of future employers, business, home life, and we're all learning them in this class, in this service learning class. Thank you for your time.